AI is not going to come for your job. Well, unless your job is avoiding AI. But here's the truth. It's not about losing jobs. It is about changing how we work. And I feel like I've been standing on this AI soapbox for years now. And if you're an entrepreneur or marketer and you're not using AI in your workflows, this is your wake-up call. Welcome to Rocky Mountain Marketing. I'm your host, Katie Brinkley. Join us as we dive deep with the world's leading digital marketing experts every single Tuesday. It's all about giving you the strategies that are working right now, directly from those who are making an impact. With my 20 years of experience, I'm here to help you navigate the world of digital marketing. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills or transform your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started on today's journey to success. Today's guest is Matt Rouse, and he's building businesses with it. He's an author, he's an agency owner, AI startup founder, and as he likes to say, the proud wrangler of over 50 chickens. And apparently an expert hole digger as well, because he just spent some time digging a hole out on his property. But today we're going to talk about what's really happening with AI in business, not just all of the hype, because I feel like every day I log on to social media and there's a new trend or tactic or tool. And if you're not using it, well, then there's the fear factor. Right. But we're going to talk about the strategy today and the strategy behind what you can do to help scale smarter and build a brand that still feels human. So, Matt, thank you so much for joining me on Rocky Mountain Marketing today.
Oh, thank you for having me on, Katie.
Well, and so I got to ask about the chickens because I had 3
Sure.
but at my old house before I moved. Got 50? Man, that's a lot of eggs.
Chicken math is a real thing. And we started with 6, right? And at our high point, I think we were up to almost 70.
What'd you do with all the eggs?
Well, they lay different amounts at different times a year. So now it's not a big deal because I'm getting like 9 eggs a day. And, we supply my parents and a couple other people. And for our own use, obviously. But in the summer, when you're getting 3 dozen a day, that's a different story, right?
Yeah.
So, they have a thing in Nova Scotia called farm gate sales. So you're allowed to sell them at your kind of the entrance to your property. So you sell them to people. And we sell the eggs. You're not making a business out of it with 50 or 60 chickens kind of thing. You need like 500 or 600 chickens to make a business out of it, right? But
I still do.
It's fun. I like knowing where my food comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have good farmer markets here too.
I don't know. So, Matt, you're in Nova Scotia. I don't know if you guys had the big, massive egg shortage when it was, earlier in 2025, but I was definitely feeling, it was like $1.25 an egg here. And so now we're back down to normal prices of eggs, but I definitely missed having my chickens when we were going through the egg shortage here.
Yeah, we did not have a shortage, but everybody wanted our eggs from the U.S. One thing that we did, though, and because the egg shortage a lot of it was caused by them having to basically get euthanized flocks of chickens from bird flu.
Yeah.
And here, the only real worry of bird flu is from the birds who migrate. So we actually covered all our chicken coops.
Oh, man.
So we have chicken coops in the barn, we have outside runs, and we had to let them only free range when it's not migratory bird season. So keep them safe.
The things you learn. Well, if you learn nothing else from today's episode, all you chicken owners out there, I do have to say too, and then I promise we'll move into AI. Chickens were some of the sweetest pets that I've had. They loved to be held. They would, they liked it when I talked to them and sang to them. I do miss our chickens. So without further ado, let's dive into some AI. So because you've seen both sides. And honestly, Matt, you and I have had the opportunity. I've been a guest on your show. We have met in real life at the Creator Economy Expo in Cleveland. So often the panic headlines of AI is taking over. And then there's also the tech evangelists claiming that it's going to solve everything. It's going to solve all of our problems. So right now, what is the reality of AI for entrepreneurs?
I think there is way too much hype and not enough actual information. It's really easy to write a headline like OpenAI came out with this thing and now we've solved all the world's problems, but also everyone's going to die. And it's just not very helpful to anyone, right? And the actual state of artificial intelligence in kind of a broad manner is way different than, just what happens to be in the latest chatbot, right? I think, do you remember, well, I'm sure you do, I believe originally it was called the MarTech 50. It was the 50 marketing technology companies, and now it's something like the MarTech 10,000 or something, right? Because it's like all the different SaaS products around marketing.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how many thousands of products are on there now. Well, the AI products was, 105 years ago. And now there's probably 3,000 or 4,000.
Well,
right?
yeah. And I mean, I think that's one of the hardest things is which AI tools are worth paying attention to and which ones are just shiny objects. Which ones do you personally make sure that you have as part of your toolkit?
So I think it's important to understand that even the same type of tool doesn't work the same way for every job, right? So if you have 3 different AI chatbots, they're going to be good and bad at different things, which is different than if you have 3 handsaws because they will all cut the same board, right? You got 3 hammers, they're all going to bang a nail in the same way. You have 3 different AI tools, you're going to get a different response depending how you talk to it on an individual level, but then you're going to get 3 different ones who also will then give you various output differences depending upon what the use case is.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to know without having some experience. So I really do like tools that allow you to use more than one model. My favorite tool, and I am in no way like affiliated with them, is SimTheory out of Australia. Their tool, you pay one price, you get to make your own agents, put your own like information into each agent, and they're not autonomous agents. You kind of have to, they're like chatbot agents. So you can put documents and websites and information in and kind of a prompt of, who the agent is and what they're for. And then you can start talking to it using a certain model, but you can switch the model on the fly. So you can say, I want to start using Gemini with this model because I'm going to work on something Google related, like Google Docs or, Google Sheets or something. And I'm working on it. Okay, but I want to make a web interface. And I've heard that, Anthropic's models are better at making interfaces, which they are. So I'm going to switch to like Haiku 4.5 and say, now make me a web interface for this and have it program it with the other model, even though I'm still in the same chat.
Oh, yeah.
So you could switch different models to do different things. The other thing that's nice is if you're familiar with like OpenAI's ChatGPT agent, where they put in the little things, kind of like N8N or like Zapier or whatever, right? Where you could put little things in it to do tasks. SimTheory has, and so does N8N, the automation system N8N, has a thing called MCP, which is Model Context Protocol. And it sounds complicated, but it's really not. It's just a system that can tell the AI what different tools it has on hand and allow it to pick the one it needs to do the job.
So which one is that again?
It's called MCP.
Okay.
And you can find it in N8N has it. SimTheory has it. Lots of other companies have their own MCPs, but that's a whole nother podcast. But a good example would be, I could say, I want to use the MCP for Gmail, and I want to use the MCP for phone calls in SimTheory. And I can say, go through my email, find the last year worth of bills from this company who I think is doing something wrong with my billing. And then I want you to call their customer service line and complain about my billing. And it'll go through it, read your emails, find out, it'll say, okay, here's where we think the billing is incorrect. Here's what we think the phone number is. Do you want us to make the call? Yes. It'll make the phone call, and then it'll come back and it'll give you a transcription of the recording of the phone call.
Wow. I mean,
so the MCP allows it to use tools on the fly.
Yeah. And I think that it's getting to a point where you can use AI for just about every business, right? Whether it's reading emails and trying to making phone calls, it's building out websites, it's building code, it's doing there's something for just about every business out there. In your experience, where are businesses wasting the most time trying to use AI? Like they're using it the wrong way.
I think there's nothing wrong with experimenting. So it's hard to say, company A or B is using this the wrong way or the right way. But experimenting is going to tell you if you're using it the wrong way, because you're going to go, okay, I'm not getting any benefit out of this. It was faster to do it the way I did it before, that kind of thing. I think the easiest kind of short thing that you can do if you want to get some advantage is look at all the tasks, especially if you are running a company versus working at a company. If you're working at a company, just list all the tasks you got to do on a regular basis that you don't want to do. And then see if you can find an AI system that will do one of those tasks.
Yeah.
Get it figured out, check it off the list, and then go on to the next one, right? But if you're running a company, you go, what are all the kind of administrative tasks, maybe some of the marketing tasks, maybe some of the research and preparation tasks, some of the processing, image processing, video processing tasks, all of these things that take up a lot of time. How can I find tools to use in these and then train my staff or myself to use those tools or automate those pieces so that nobody has to do those tasks? Because there's an old adage, and this comes from the manufacturing world, that if you want to do the calculation of should I do it myself or should I teach someone else to do it, it's a 1-to-40 ratio. So if it takes 1 hour to train somebody to do a task, right? And it's going to save you 40 hours in the long run if you train someone to do that task at a minimum, right? So if you can spend an hour automating something like, here's a good example. For one of my clients, every 6 hours, the automation system looks on their website and says, is there a new blog? And if the answer is yes, it pulls the URL, it summarizes the post into something that will fit on Twitter, and it grabs the image and formats it correctly for Twitter, and it posts it. I haven't had to post for them on Twitter for a year. It just runs by itself. It does its own thing, and it's not writing posts. It's just summarizing what we already wrote in the blog.
Yeah.
And posting it with the link.
I think that's one of the things is when you have these systems, I like that 1-to-40, 40-to-1 rule, because sometimes it feels like, oh, I'm building this out or I'm training someone to do this. But in the long run, now you haven't had to create a Twitter post for this company in over a year because you spent the time to train the agent. And I think with AI, I think a lot of people are just still kind of using it on that very basic, I want to say like kind of gateway of social media content creation. Because I hear one thing time and time again from my audience is like, oh, well, AI is just making everything sound the same. Since, you literally wrote the book on AI, let's talk about how creators and personal brands can stand out when the internet is really starting to sound robotic.
So the biggest problem with the idea that everything sounds the same is that if everything sounds the same, then everybody's input is close to the same. So if you give radically different inputs, you don't get the same sound. So all that's saying is we're putting in the same thing that everybody else is putting in, and we're all getting the same result. So context is really the thing. Everybody used to talk about prompt engineering. It's really about context engineering.
Ooh,
How do I
that.
give all of the context and information and examples and types of prose and writing styles and things that we like and other maybe examples of things that we like into a system? And then we ask it to create whatever the output that we want is. But we also have to say, this is the outcome that we would like. This is the reason that we're doing this. Now create the output, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you do all that, you're going to get something radically different than write me a blog about refrigerators using the model L10,
Well, and I think that, that's where storytelling does come into a lot of making your content better. So let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what role do you feel that storytelling plays in making sure that all content still helps us connect emotionally while having AI assist us with the creation?
Right. I don't think that writing is the best use of AI systems. And as a writer, I mean, I still use them in my writing, but I use it for lots of things that AI is good at. Like, I need to find all the studies related to X, put it on thinking mode, right? Let it go do its thing for half an hour, come back, and then put it through another AI and say, I want you to check all the sources in this document and make sure that they exist and they're correct and summarize each one. And then, now I can make sure I don't have hallucinations in my document. And then I go summarize this because I'm writing a book. I only got one paragraph to talk about this. And then it can summarize the data for me. I can double check it quick. And I can say, okay, now I'm going to write about that thing. I don't have it write it, The other thing is explaining complex topics in a more simple way is a really excellent way to do it. Like, I need 2 sentences to explain what the difference is between a token and a word to an AI system. And the AI is going to come out and say, wow, a token is actually part of a word, or it could be a symbol, or it's a smaller syllable of a word. And this is what AI systems use to put words and other ideas together. So you could go, I need to explain something in a more simple way. But the real power in AI that 90% of people in the marketing world are missing is that AI can make decisions. And our day is a series of hundreds, if not thousands, of tiny decisions and very few large decisions. And a lot of those decisions are kind of a no-brainer. You just got to look at it. You got to go, all right, if it's this, I got to do that. If it's this, I got to do that. If it's this, that's an outlier. I'll deal with it later, right? Put some of that into your decision-making process, have it sort your email for you. Have it, look at your incoming forms that come in from clients, have it look at your survey data, whatever that is, have it go through and make decisions about what's important or not important. And you're going to have to tweak that stuff, obviously, and you got to monitor it for a while. But what's that time worth for you, right? What's it worth to you to get 1,000 pieces of survey data that used to take you 2.5 days to put together, and now you can put it together in 2 hours?
Yeah, and I think that what you're saying here, Matt, is thinking bigger than just write a social media post for me about XYZ.
Right.
Write a blog post about why this refrigerator model is better than the other. So, and I mean, like, so I'm working on my second book right now and I'm writing it, but it exactly was like what you said, using the AI to help me find data to, hey,
Right.
review this. Cause I mean, does it make sense? I'm kind of all over the place here. Make sure that this is flowing right and just using it as that second set of eyes. So, what are some creative prompts or workflows that will help people use AI to think bigger, not just faster?
I think a really good one is when you have fields of data that are not easy to compare through a spreadsheet or something like that. So a good example is we have some data that we're working on an application for a customer, and they have one field tells a location, something like near a city, right? And the other one is like, we only service this specific type of area. And there's no way to match those 2 fields because you can't algorithmically say, okay, near Toledo, Ohio, and are, Southern Ohio a match or not? But the AI could do it. It knows if it matches or not, right? So what it
Yeah.
could do is we call them fuzzy data searches, right? It
Mhm.
can do fuzzy data searches and matching without and you don't have to do any programming. You just say, you give it a prompt and say, go through all the fields in this form and say, does this match this? And if the answer is yes, do this. If the answer is no, do this. Automation systems and AI are buddies, and they should work together on all of your things.
I love that. And for a small business owner that's listening right now, what would you say is the first step to really making AI part of that creative process instead of just a crutch. I see so many times that people are just leaning on AI to do it for them. And
Yeah.
what you're saying is create the workflow, the automation to help you work smarter. So what would you say the first step is to making them that creative process a part of AI, a part of that creative process instead of just the crutch to it?
Right. Well, I think the first thing you need to do is understand what the tasks that your company actually does are.
Mm.
And this is difficult because if you ask, I don't know, you could just ask anyone, what was the job description you were hired for? And what do you actually do on a day-to-day basis? And they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
This is one of the difficulties actually with, large corporations trying to replace people with AI systems is they lay people off and they get an AI that can do their job description, but that's not what the person actually did.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to understand what are the tasks that have to get done in your company. Which of those tasks have something to do with data is a really good thing to look at. I know a million small businesses with a million manual processes like, okay, well, when we send the pricing catalog out, we got to take this spreadsheet and this one from this vendor, but this vendor gives us a PDF and this person we got to call on the phone. And then we put all that into our catalog and then we email that out to the printer, whatever, right? All of that can be done by an AI system. And whoever that person who is doing that job is can actually do all the other stuff that they should be doing, which is what you hired them for in the first place, right?
Yeah.
If you're a business owner, you've got a list of probably 100 things somewhere that are going to move your business forward, but you've got 1,000 other things to do before you get to that list. So you want to start reducing those other things so you can start doing the important work.
Yeah.
And my company, we have 196 clients roughly. Actually, 197. We had one sign up on Friday. And there's myself, my business partner, and 3 contractors. So we have a company that we basically do 2.5 to 3 times the revenue now that we did before when we had 5 or 6 employees.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still growing and we're building a SaaS product on the side.
Yeah. And I think that we're in the same boat. Like we had 14 employees at the end of 2024. Now
Mm-hmm.
we are down to 8, still same revenue, more revenue. And it's because of AI automations and workflows. And I do think that with AI, it's not to say like, oh, well, learn it or you'll lose your job. But
Right.
I think that everyone needs to learn how they can use AI to better their roles in their jobs. And I do think that automation can be a double-edged sword. It saves time, but, at what cost? And I guess what metrics or
Yeah.
signals do you look for when you're deciding like, okay, where should I start automating and where do I still need a human touch?
Right. Well, I should mention that we didn't lay off all our staff, right?
Mm,
That happened from COVID. And, as we were in the process of starting to think about hiring back people, we just didn't have to.
yeah.
I work maybe 60% of the hours I did before, but we have 2.5 times the revenue, probably 3 times the output. And that's just scraping the surface. A lot of that is just because we still have a lot of kind of training and stuff to get done. Otherwise, we'd be even more, right? Uh, but here's the thing. I think what people get wrong is they are trying to automate the creatives because
Mhm.
creative is difficult and time consuming. And it's easy to look at a tool like ChatGPT and say, well, it can spit out an essay. So, why can't it spit out a LinkedIn post? Right. But, and I don't want to, I don't like to say any absolutes, right? Because I know people who have AIs doing their YouTube channel with Hey Gen. They're using, just ChatGPT and an automation system to create all their LinkedIn posts. They're using Midjourney to create all the photos or Nano Banana or something now, right? It's like just 100% automated and they have hundreds of thousands of people commenting on them. And they even have the AI commenting back on those posts. There's nothing human about it whatsoever. And people all day long can say, well, if you let it get automated, nobody's going to pay attention to that. Well, it's obviously that's not true. But for most people, it's true, right? So there are some people who get away with it. Maybe it's because of their industry. Maybe it's people following them. Maybe they just have 100,000 bots following them. I don't know. But you don't want to like automate away the humanity of the thing you're doing. But that said, you only got so many hours in a day. Mm-hmm. So one thing that you can think about is, instead of how do I take something I'm already doing and save time using AI, you can think about, what are the things I'm not doing because I don't have time, but I could have AI do for me? Like, is it better for me to have Twitter posts go out automatically, or to not have any Twitter posts? Because in my world, I'm not going to do it. I don't have that time.
Yeah.
Also, I like Blue Sky a lot better, so I post on there. But I still got to post on Twitter. So, you know, it's one of those things. Reporting is another one that 100% your reporting should be automated, even if it has a human in the loop. You know, somebody has to check it, whatever. Start automating that stuff, because it's a time suck. And I don't know about you. When our agency, like back in the day, before we were like a full, you know, marketing agency and doing development and stuff, we were pretty much strictly advertising and like AdWords and Facebook ads. That was pretty much it. And everybody wanted reports. Nobody fucking read them. Right?
Yeah.
Ever. Right?
Yep.
And I remember I started putting at the bottom of my reports, email me for a free $50 credit if you read this line. No one ever emailed me. I sent that out on hundreds of reports, right?
It's true.
No one read the reports.
It's true.
So why are we wasting time trying to make all these reports perfect that nobody is going to read? Because here's what's going to happen. Their AI is going to summarize it, or even if they get the report, they're going to download the PDF of the report, upload it into ChatGPT and say, tell me 3 things I need to know about this report. So why don't you just have your ChatGPT tell them the 3 things they need to know about the report and email them that?
Yep.
And say, you know what, full report available, or, you know, full report attached, but here's 3 takeaways from your report.
Yeah.
And it knows the data. And the other thing is, and this is a crazy one that people forget all the time, the AI can tell you how to automate your stuff with the AI. It can tell you how to do the prompt. If your prompt's not working, it can tell you how to improve your prompt, and it can give you step-by-step instructions on how to automate it, whatever that process is. If you say, I want to use Google Analytics on my website, it can teach you how to install it. And once it's installed, it can teach you how to automate the reports. And when you get the reports, it can tell you what the reports say. You don't need to be an expert, right? Mm-hmm. Especially that kind of high-tech stuff where, you know, like use Google Gemini AI with Google Analytics, because it's a Google property. It's been trained on all that data already.
Yeah. As we wrap up today's episode, let's give some homework to the audience. Sure. Okay. As we wrap up 2025, because we only have a few weeks left, and which is shocking to say.
All right.
What is one automation that you think every small business should have in place by next year?
Well, there's a lot of it depends that goes on there, because, you know, kind of what does every business do? I think one of the best things might be to do research with the AI system on either your product or your competitors.
Yeah.
And you can go in, use the use the paid version. Don't use the free one, people. Use the paid version. It's for business. Go in, click the little plus sign with the thinking model, or go down to ChatGPT 5 thinking and say, I want you to tell me step by step how I can get information about my customers and what they're saying through answer engines, through Reddit, through other places. And it'll give you a list.
I love that.
You can tell it to go do it.
Yeah. And it's a great way to really get a strong understanding about where you are with, like you said, your competitors. Like, what are they doing? What's working for them? And where can you fill some of the gaps within your own business?
Yeah. Sorry, the word I was looking for was competitive analysis.
There we go. Well, Matt, this was an awesome conversation. I love that your perspective that AI isn't coming to replace us, it's coming to refine us. If people want to learn more about you, grab your book, check out your business. Where should they go?
The book is Will AI Take My Job Too? It's on Amazon. And AI is coming for a few people's jobs, but not all of them. Only some of them. You can go to MatthewRouse.com. It's Matthew with 2 T's, ROUSE. And all my stuff's on there, books, and you can get to our other properties. And you can see our SaaS product that we've recently soft launched, which is for businesses that have a local service area. It's called SMBAutopilot.ai.
Ooh, that sounds very interesting. All right, we will include links to all of these in the show notes. Be sure to go grab Matt's book. It's on Amazon. Connect with him, follow him, check out his podcast. And if this episode got your wheels turning, be sure to share it with a fellow business owner who's still on the fence about AI. Matt, thank you again so much for joining me on this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.